Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Otto with FedScoop TV, and we're here at the Social Innovation Summit today. And I'm talking with Leslie Johnston, the Director of Digital Preservation for the NARA. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
So, Vint Cerf, he's warned about a digital dark age based off the fact that there are proprietary formats of documents and other recordings that aren't necessarily able to be searched. What is the Records Administration doing to make sure that this doesn't happen?
So the National Archives and Records Administration, to introduce your viewers to what we do, we are responsible for the preservation of all permanent federal records, so the work of the federal government. This includes not only paper records, but obviously digitized and born digital records. So we take in millions, and in some years billions, of born digital records every year. And we have file formats that go back as far as the 1960s.
Wow, okay.
So we really do have an extensive collection of digital files. So when Vint talks about the digital dark age, he's right in the sense that there are many file formats that have long disappeared. I was recently asked for some files from the 1960s to provide them to a researcher, and we provided those records, but I did not actually know how to open those files.
Okay.
So Vint is not wrong in that there are formats that we can't work with. But what NARA has been doing, we do actually keep the original files we get because those are the authentic records that we receive from the federal agencies. But we do keep information about the sustainability of each file format.
Okay.
We accept about 60 different file formats right now. So that we know exactly what file formats we have. We audit them in our collections. We do take preservation actions on them so that we can actually continue to make them accessible to the public and to researchers. Because the most important part of digital preservation for us is not just having the records, it's making the records accessible to the public. So we are constantly monitoring what we have and making sure that there are always copies that are available to the public that they can use and open in current software. But that does mean that, yes, we are going to have, for the rest of my career at NARA and everyone else's career at NARA, the experience where we are going to be constantly monitoring and reformatting files. But that's how we keep them accessible over time.
Okay. So what is one change that could make your job or your agency's mission operate a lot smoother or just make it a lot easier to do what you do?
Well, the mission of the agency is permanent preservation as well as public availability of our holdings of electronic records. And there have been a lot of really good changes in our regulatory environment in the last few years that actually have made changes that have made my work easier. We have issued new guidance about the file formats that we receive. We have issued new guidance about how to give us files, what metadata, what descriptive information about the records that we need to get with them to make it easier to make them accessible. We have been working with the presidential directive on the management of electronic records. But we've also provided guidance such as what we call capstone, which is telling the federal agencies that we work with, the over 200 agencies, as much as we want to receive everything that you get, you're actually on schedules to only give us certain things as permanent records. And for things like email, things where we could potentially get a huge deluge of information and records from agencies, we have said, no, here's some guidance how you identify which individuals in which roles in your agency actually produce email records that we want to receive. So for us, this has been about providing the guidance and through the regulations to limit what comes to us from the start of the life cycle so that it's much easier and much more efficient for us to bring them into the agency, get them into managed, controlled storage environments, and then quickly make them accessible to the public for access.
So with all of those records, you were just saying billions of records, and those are just the records. We're not even talking about file size. With all of that, talk to me about your concerns. Do you have any concerns about the proliferation of big data in government, or do you think the government's on the right track?
I think the government is on the right track. I mean, of course, I have some concerns because with increased scale, and as an example, I currently have a few petabytes of records. By 2020, doing some analysis, we expect to have 500 petabytes or half an exabyte of records.
Okay.
And so, and that is billions of records in a very heterogeneous set of formats. So for us, the concern really is how do we do our work most efficiently and effectively? So how can we introduce more automation into our processes? How can we take machine learning and automatically extract information from the files themselves? How can the records tell us more about themselves so that we don't have to have bespoke human processes applied to all of our electronic records so that we can make them effectively available more quickly rather than looking at every single email record we get to say, this is about an important activity of government, this is about my lunch order. Because we do get both.
All right. Well, I'm sure that you will be wrapping your head around all of it, and the Archives and Records Administration will be the lead on this for many more years to come.
I certainly hope so.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much for having me.
For all of our videos, you can check out our YouTube channel, and for more information, check out fedscoop.com. I'm Greg Otto. Thanks for watching.